What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys this makeup look that you're seeing on my face right now. It is my current favorite everyday makeup routine. This has been what I've been wearing pretty much every single day. That is what an everyday makeup routine is. This was a super detailed tutorial, so that means that I give you all the tips and tricks, and I hope that you guys find it helpful. Today's video is also in partnership with Skin Fix, which is pretty exciting because I'm going to be showing you guys how I've been using my current favorite moisturizer. Like, this stuff is so good. It has been such a good product for my skin, especially now that the weather's changing, it's getting colder, my skin tends to react around this time. This has literally been saving it. So I hope that you guys are gonna enjoy today's video. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below, what you think of the look. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed today's video, and subscribe if you wanna join the fam. And without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so I'm gonna start off first with some skincare. Now, I did already do pretty much my entire skincare routine, but I have not yet put on my moisturizer. I pretty much always have to put on my moisturizer right before starting my makeup. I don't really love doing my makeup without freshly moisturized skin, just because I feel like I just don't get as good of a result. I've preached this forever on my channel. You guys know I always tell you to prep your skin before applying makeup with your skincare routine, because your results are just always going to be better. So I am going in, of course, with the Skin Fix Barrier Plus Lipid Peptide Cream Nourishing Rich Hydrator. This has very quickly become one of my all-time favorite moisturizers, and that says a lot because you guys know I have very dry skin, so I feel like I've tried a lot of moisturizers in my day because my dry skin is constantly asking for moisture. I've been using this for about a month or so, and I just love how much hydrated my skin actually has become since started using this product. As you guys also know, I have really sensitive and reactive skin, and the Barrier Plus has no fragrance, essential oils, or silicones, which is great because no silicone means that it actually will not pill underneath your makeup. If you didn't know, lipids are skin's natural fats, and they're really important in maintaining the strength of the skin's protective barrier. And this moisturizer is clinically proven to refill the lipids in your skin barrier by nearly 1% per day, which is pretty cool. So that's definitely more of the sciencey information behind this product, but just as a day-to-day user, I've really just found that this has done a really good job in just keeping my skin moisturized, especially now that it is getting colder outside. My skin tends to react pretty aggressively when the weather shifts, and I haven't had as much of like a crazy dry skin flare-up because I kind of was using this when the weather started shifting, so I'm actually pretty grateful for it. The packaging is probably my favorite type of skincare moisturizer packaging. All you do is just push this little thing at the top, and the moisturizer dispenses through this hole up here, and then you just swipe the moisturizer off of this plastic plate. So you're never dipping, sometimes perhaps your dirty fingers inside of your skincare product, which I love. So this just keeps everything really nice and hygienic. So I'm just gonna take about this much, which is one pump of the product, and just put it all over my skin. And I do really like this as a base for underneath my makeup because even though it is thick, so it does provide like a nice like cushiony base for my makeup to sit on top of, it's also not oily or too thick where it disrupts the makeup. So as far as what kind of everyday makeup I've been doing lately, I've definitely been more so focusing more than ever on longevity and just making sure that the products that I use on my face really lock in, because of course we are wearing mask day today. And so I do want to be sure that my foundation doesn't completely transfer off of my face to my mask. It's, I find, almost impossible for me to completely avoid that, but I do feel like I have a nice routine down where I minimize the transfer as much as possible. And I also just keep everything also nice and lightweight because I don't really want to pile on a ton of base makeup because I feel like the more base makeup I put on, the more chance I'm going to have that transfer. But to kind of counteract that, I use something that has more of a full coverage finish so that I could use a smaller amount of product and I don't have to compromise on the coverage. So I'm gonna go in with my Rare Beauty foundation. You guys know I've been loving this. It's pretty much been my favorite foundation ever since I tried it for the first time. I am gonna be using the shade 200C today. And what I've been doing is I've actually been doing my moisturizer brush technique. It was a technique that I learned actually from Harush. I like followed one of her tutorials in a video, and she did this thing where she basically would take her moisturizer and moisturize her brush. So she would like take the moisturizer on her hand, put her foundation brush inside of the moisturizer and really like work it in. And then she would use that moisturized brush with her foundation to apply it. And it kind of just makes your foundation look the most like skin, and it doesn't necessarily sheer it out, it makes it melt into the skin in the most beautiful way. So I'm first gonna take my Skin Fix Barrier Plus, and this is actually perfect packaging to do this technique because I can basically shove my brush into the moisturizer right here, and it's like the perfect amount. I don't even have to put it on my hand. So I'm literally just taking my brush and I'm bouncing it into the moisturizer. And then I'm just going to rub the brush on the back of my hand, and that's just going to get rid of any of the excess moisturizer and really work it into the brush. By the way, the brush that I'm using is the Fenty 195 bronzer brush. I do like to use fluffier brushes for this technique. So now I'm gonna go into the foundation, and I'm just going to put a little bit on the back of my hand. So I have about that much, and that's probably going to cover my entire face. And again, I'm really gonna work the foundation into the brush. So I'm just going to really buff this into my skin using kind of like large circle-y motions. So again, it kind of keeps the amount of product that I apply to a minimum. The coverage is still there. You can see it pretty much blanked out my face, but it looks so natural because of that moisturizer. If you look close up, like it almost doesn't even look like I'm wearing foundation. For my concealer, I'm gonna go in with the Rare Beauty Concealer in 270N. I'm just gonna apply a little bit underneath my eyes. Color's a little bit too dark for me, but I think it's gonna work fine. I think I grabbed the wrong shade, but we've already gone so far. And I'm also gonna apply a little bit of the concealer on the areas where I want just a little bit more coverage. I'm gonna take the same foundation brush, and instead of doing big circle motions, I'm going to tap it. And that's just gonna keep the concealer in place a little bit better. It's not gonna move it around because we are doing more precise concealing here. I don't wanna like be spreading it on the areas where I don't want the concealer. This color, because it is darker, it's not highlighting my face at all. I do like to highlight my face a little bit though, and so I'm gonna go in with a lighter product just to put in very key areas, just to kind of bring some dimension back to my face. I'm gonna highlight with my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in 2.2, and I'm just going to put some down the bridge of my nose. You can see that color is obviously a lot lighter, and kind of just like right here and in the inner corner of my eye. I'm gonna blend that out with my finger because I really wanna be sure that stays exactly where I want it, since this is a very precise application. And even the brush is gonna move it around a little bit too much. And now I'm going in with just a little tiny blending brush, and I'm using this to just make sure that the foundation is blended in the little crevices on my face. This is just a little extra step that I sometimes like to do just to make sure that everything's perfected. And it kind of just, again, like airbrushes things, so it's looking good. So for my bronzer, I'm gonna be layering both a cream and a powder. For whatever reason, I find my bronzer is what transfers the most. So even though I really love using creams because it just gives a really like melted in blended look to your bronzer, I like to lock it in with a very, very, very light dusting of powder to just make sure that it doesn't transfer as much as possible. So I use NARS Laguna for that. So I'm going to first go in with my Fenty Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Bronzer in Macchiato. And to apply that, I am gonna use a sponge. So I'm just gonna pick it up directly from the compact and just pat it around my face. I always make sure when I do apply my bronzer that I apply it higher than you would think. So I almost feel like naturally you would apply the bronzer like more so down here, but I like to apply my bronzer almost directly on my cheekbone, like where I would apply my highlighter. And I've been just really liking that technique lately. I do find that it gives more of like a lifted look to the face. And then for my nose, I flip the sponge over and I go towards the more precise side, and I kind of just pinch the sponge and just tap a little bit of the cream on the sides of my nose. You guys know I never really used to contour my nose, but I'm getting into it. Now more than ever, I've been doing more of like a, still very natural, but more of like a full glam natural makeup look. I've just been putting more effort into my makeup for every day. Putting on makeup and just feeling like really good about it just really lifts my spirits, and I've noticed that more and more, and so I've been putting in more effort because I just like the way it makes me feel. Now I'm gonna go into my NARS Laguna. It's just the powder bronzer, and I'm going to take that on this Sigma F25. And I'm just picking up a little bit, tapping off the excess. I really don't want a lot because what I really love about the cream is how natural it looks and how glowy it looks as well. But again, I just want to lock it in, almost like a setting powder, but for the bronzer. And I kind of just put a little bit more depth and I apply a little bit heavier kind of right at my temple area just to add a little bit more depth there. And I find it just chisels the face a little bit. Makes a really subtle difference. So now I'm gonna apply my blush, and for my blush I have been using a serum blush. This one is from M Cosmetics in Soft Amethyst. This has been like my favorite color to wear, especially now that it's fall going into winter. This is just such a beautiful fall color. It looks really dark in the little jar, but it actually applies pretty sheerly as long as you just apply it sparingly. And I'm gonna apply that with my sponge just because it's here, and so why not? It just will melt it into the skin a little bit easier. You see how that just like adds the slightest hint of warmth to the cheeks? It's so pretty. Now it's time to powder my face. This has been the one step that I've definitely put a little bit more of an emphasis on in my routine. You guys know, like, I don't really like powder. I don't really love using it, but if you want to lock in your makeup, powder is pretty much always necessary. So I have been playing around with different techniques, different types of powders. These are the two that I've been using that I've been really liking. First, I'm gonna go in with my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Infinity powder. This is so beautiful because it is, like a lot of the Hourglass powders, a nice setting powder that has a little bit of a sheen to it, no shimmer, no sparkle. It's just like a glow. So I don't like to apply this everywhere because I don't want my skin to be like overly glowy, but I do really like to apply this underneath the eyes. I find a powder that has a little bit of a sheen applied underneath the eyes just really makes the under eyes look really fresh looking, as long as you don't overdo it. You just do a really nice light dusting. I'm gonna just pick up some of the powder, dust this underneath the eyes. And I'm also just gonna hit the tops of my cheekbones a little bit with this. So again, it's just gonna enhance that nice subtle glow that I have going on. I don't know if you guys would even be able to see the difference, but here's one side done and this side doesn't have anything. It kind of just blurs the skin a little bit and adds such a nice glow. Do you see a difference? Probably not, eh? It's just powder, but I see a difference in person at least. For my other powder, I'm gonna be using this Gucci beauty powder in number 04. It is like a tinted pressed powder. This is definitely a very luxe powder, and I don't want to say that you absolutely need this in your life because you definitely don't. It is very, very pricey, but it is a really nice powder and I have been enjoying it. Definitely not the best powder I've ever used, and I wouldn't say it's like worth the price, but I mean, it's definitely a very luxe experience with this packaging. It kind of smells fancy, so it's nice, but you know, not totally 100% necessary, that's for sure. Either way, it's more about the technique than the powder. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of the powder and I put this all on like the lower half of my face because obviously this is where the mask goes. And so I wanna just be sure that this part of my face is set with powder to again lock everything in. So even though we're not totally done the makeup, I am gonna go in with my setting spray because I wanna really like lock in this base. I'm not so worried about locking in my eyeshadow, and I also want to avoid getting setting spray on my mascara. So I like to do this before doing my eyes. So I'm gonna be using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This stuff I really do find does a really good job at locking makeup in, increasing longevity. I also do find it kind of softens the look of my makeup on my face like a lot of other setting sprays do. So I've been really enjoying this. So I'm just gonna spray this everywhere. For my brows, I have been exclusively using this product over here. This is the M Cosmetics Brow Cream in the shade Brunette. This is amazing. If you're super lazy like I am when it comes to filling in your brows, this product is honestly just the best. When I first started using this product, I really didn't like it because it is like a really teeny tiny little wand, as you can see. And at first I just really didn't get it. I thought that this was more of just like a brow setting product and less of a filling in product. And so I just found that because it was so small, it just took forever to actually set my brows. But then I realized that it's not just meant for setting your brows, it's also meant for filling them in. This small little brush actually comes in handy if you are using it to fill in your brows because you can be really, really precise with it. I like to start off in the middle so that the majority of the product that's on the brush goes there, because if I start at the front, I find it could get a little bit too intense. And then I kind of just move my hairs in place until I like the way that they're laying. And then I take, as my last step, the product towards the front of the brow and I brush it upwards. And it creates the most perfect filled in brow look in no time. So easy, so foolproof. Look at that. Gorgeous brow. So for my eyeshadow, I've been doing something really simple. This is not going to be anything mind-blowing, I can promise you that. I've been using my Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette. It's just a nice palette, has a ton of mattes in here. As you can see, I'm going to go in with the cream, and I put this on my lid all the way up to my brow bone. If you have a darker skin tone than I do, I would not use a color like this. I would use more of just like a light tan color, just something that is slightly more brightening will give a similar effect. And now I'm gonna go in with this little brush over here. This is my Smith 253, and I'm going to use this dark brown shade. And I pretty much just create a soft wing with this eyeshadow. And this brush is really key because, as you can see, it kind of goes to a bit of a point. And so I put the eyeshadow on one side of the eyeshadow brush, and this really just helps in creating like a more precise wing shape. So I load up the brush with the shadow and I kind of just press the eyeshadow onto my lid and I flick it out towards the corner. And then once I have the shape, I just work with it and I just continue to build up the product if I need to, and then just buff it out so it's really nice and soft. I've been enjoying this technique more than applying a liquid eyeliner because, number one, it's really nice and quick, especially for day to day. And number two, it's kind of like foolproof. Like I never really can get this wrong because, especially with eyeshadow, if you do mess it up, it's so easy just to wipe away. Once I have the general shape, I'll just go in with a more precise blending brush. This is my Sigma E27, and I'll go in with this shade right here. It's a nice little blending shade. And I'll just run this along the top edge of the liner, just so it has something to blend into, and it looks a little bit more interesting than just a brown line across my lash line. And then you have something like that, super soft, smoky wing. Really doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of gives a little bit of shape to the eye. Last thing I do is I take, again, my small little brush, and I'll go into this guy and just smoke a little bit of it on my lower lash line. Just make sure to kind of connect it on the outer corner and then just bring it all the way in. The shade that I use in my lower lash line is warmer, whereas the wing color is a little bit cooler. And I find because they're different, it kind of offsets each other and it makes my eyes pop more. For my mascara, I've been jumping between a ton of different mascaras, but the one that I've been really obsessed with lately is the Benefit Roller Lash. It's so freaking good. It literally curls your lashes. It makes them look so intense and so pretty and fluttery, and I really like it because I don't have to curl my lashes, but yet it makes my lashes look so lifted. So for my lips, there's been two options that I've been going for. One, again, is a little bit more of that like 90s vibe that I've been really liking, and then the other has a little bit more color to it. So I'm gonna show you guys both. But with both of them, I have been using this lip liner. This is the M Cosmetics Soft Blur Velvet Lip Liner in Kitten. I've been really loving overlining my top lip. I kind of just draw a straight line across my Cupid's bow, and then I sage to my lip line throughout the sides. The nude option, I have been loving Revlon Sparkling Honey. I feel like I have not been able to stop talking about this. It's just such a good dark nude lipstick, and I love the finish of this. It's really nice and glossy and sheer. So this is the nude lip color. I love this so much. And now I'll show you guys the more colorful lip options. So I'm just gonna dab off lipstick because I want to keep the liner there. For the other lip option, it's this M Cosmetics Lip Cushion Tinted Lip Luminizer in Mystic. This is actually a pretty pigmented gloss, so I apply it fully on like my lower lip. As you can see, it kind of looks dark. And then I rub my lips together, and then I take my finger and I just kind of smooth it over to kind of soften the color a little bit. And it just creates this beautiful berry stain. So guys, this is the finished look. This has been my current everyday routine. All right guys, that is it for today's tutorial. I hope that you enjoyed it and learned something new. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy it, and subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and let me know all of your thoughts down below on the look that I created. Let me know if you're going to be trying it out, if you're going to try any of the tips and tricks that I showed you guys today, and let me know your results, or send me a picture on Instagram. I always love reposting you guys. It makes me very proud. All right guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.